she's a rep. She was a representative for us. And so I got to shadow her.
With hell on wheels.
I think I was there for the day that the education bill was already. It might have been 2 years ago now, since 25. But long story short, there was a little bit of like a power struggle between the two. The Democrats had amendments to the education bill, but the Republicans were like, hey, you got a hard limit on it. And because they went too far, they just denied every single amendment. As I'm sitting there, I'm hearing the amendments, and I'm like, these are actually like viable amendments.
Right.
Long story short, there was one guy trying to basically extend the wording to include the guilties, because a lot of the wording had the C in it. So just got to know there's too many amendments, and I was like, oh, now that's not okay.
No.
Yeah. So I left about halfway through because I just started to kind of get like sick to my stomach, because I'm like, you're talking about the education bill for next year. And I'm like, you can't do that. But like I said, it was probably 2 years ago now that I think about it. But yeah, it's outrageous that something like that could happen. Talking about shaking hands, I'm like, how?
Yeah.
Well, if you look at so we're all on YouTube, all on social media, everything like that. We have our own individual accounts and stuff. And they're usually where we're from, so there's not many auditors to do it. So, we're kind of bringing something new to the area. So basically, every single little government building is talking to each other. Like the amount that we've been followed, the amount that we've been harassed, the amount that so much. I mean, here's a perfect example. We did a Freedom of Information Act at Blackville. That's one of our big, our big hitters, big videos.
Right.
So we did that. We tried to do a FOIA request at Blackville. We got ultimately denied. Right? Well, through and through denied.
Right.
But this is what they did. They sent a letter. This was all anonymously, masks, no names, no nothing. Good citizen and an email address. Right? They sent a letter, this real nice, pretty letter, to my address.
Certified mail.
Certified mail to my address, saying my name, saying everything. Hey, if you want your FOIA request, you're gonna have to pay everything, give your ID, do this, do that.
That doesn't sound right.
Yeah. And
I wonder how they got your name and information.
Small town, but but still, it shouldn't be
Illegally.
Illegally. But while on tax dollars money, they're working to figure out who is anonymous.
30 at your Cannabis Rally.
That's right.
Logan, South Carolina, at the Capitol building. Legalize it. Don't hide it. Legalize it.
100%. That's finally made it.
They're at the Capitol, folks.
Eventually, you will see us. See this guy right here. At the Capitol.
And I hope that it goes further. I got a bunch of other things illegalized. We believe in psychedelics as therapy. So they kept following you. I mean, but that needs to get legalized. That's what I'm out here supporting. This is just the first step. Right. Marijuana. This country was built on marijuana.
Right. It was a law that if you had so many acres of land, you were required by the government to grow it. By law. That's what I think is outrageous. We kind of forgot our roots.
Yeah, well, we go even further back.
Sure, exactly.
We go even further back, right? Let's forget about the U.S. Our ancestors upon ancestors were doing marijuana, mushrooms, all psychedelics. The Greeks were doing ergot, LSD. So we were all built on all of these plants that now the man, right, the quote-unquote man who is worried about money and is worried about controlling us, they take away all those things. They take away all those things. The war on drugs is just meant to control people, control the hippies, the protesters like us. It's their way.
Every time I hear about the war on drugs, like that falls out for a long time.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it's a dying war. I don't know why we put so much money into it, because at this point, drugs will 100% not a long time ago.
My question is, which war have we been spending more money on and less successful? War on drugs or the war on poverty?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. That's good.
That's a great question.
God,
Well,
man,
definitely the
poverty.
Yeah.
there are so many people who are homeless.
Oh, 100%. They don't care.
Yeah,
They don't care.
like I said, it's the people don't matter,
Right.
as long as everyone's shaking hands with their checks and balances, we're good.
As long as you make money, that's all they care about.
And then we also just bumped into at the DSS administration office. You know, they all have now security guards. So security guards who are paid with our taxes by wherever, by the DSS, by the government, but they're not government officials, so they can't be like, you know, oh, we're not stepping on your rights. We're not. They're doing that.
They have the foot on there. It's not our foot.
Yeah.
It's not ours.
It's not our foot. That's their shoe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they found a loophole.
Yeah, exactly. I tell you, this country's not built on
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I'm glad we at least have the farm bill out here.
Yeah.
But even then, Sled's been going after THC and covers since day one.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's still 100% under the farm bill, if not the most natural of all of the cannabis that we have for sale out here.
Right.
You're like, you know what, just take the plant, man.
Yep.
That's about it.
Yep.
Really, like, the whole logic for Sled, even, we talk on our medical bill, they took flour out of the bill, but they're worried about potency. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of hypocritical.
Yeah.
Because that's the least potent part of the process.
Right.
Flour.
Right.
Yeah, but no, things like that.
Yep. Oh my God. It's
Sled had a comment that was, they wouldn't be able to tell the difference between medical and recreational marijuana apart. That's the difference.
Yep.
That's the difference.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
Even though it should be recreational, for sure. And what about the people who can't afford our welding?
Got the sign down.
Here's some value on that.
It's cool. You don't need marijuana. Not something that's not addictive, something that doesn't hurt your liver, over time. Take this instead.
Right.
Yeah, you'll be fine. We'll find out in 10 years.
When we have like gas at the end, like liver disease.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
But people don't realize stuff like this. Not at all. And I was just thinking that people are more okay
There's a live stream.
So we also have to fight for that factor too.
Y'all want to talk about cannabis in prison? It's Jeremy Davis, the last prisoner project.
Okay.
Long story short, they're an organization that fights to free cannabis prisoners. Stephen Silver was a cannabis prisoner.
Yeah.
And now he goes out and but I guess he speaks about it too.
Yeah.
This is very smart. This is first-hand experience from the BS regulations.
Yeah. What was his name again?
Jeremy Davis.
Jeremy Davis.
He's out of Charleston.
Okay. All right.
Great guy.
Yeah.
Is he with any sort of organization?
The last prisoner project.
Last prisoner project.
Just want to make sure I got that clear.
That's good. Good question. Good question. Make sure you get it up.
That was the there we go.
Everybody wonders why we're all so depressed.
Oh.
Right?
I don't know what that was.
I don't know.
Scared to be in close proximity to cannabis.
I guess.
All right, how we doing here?
You're doing good,
How
man.
much time we got? Couple minutes, I believe.
I have 420.
3. Probably should.
They're getting ready to do their thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Originally, they were licensed for you. We lost a couple politicians due to different reasons. Past that, I'm not sure.
Oh, where?
Pot's primarily. I'm just here for the medical side.
Yes, sir.
You said you're here for the mental side?
Medical.
Medical.
He's a nurse.
I'm a nurse.
Yeah, a cannabis nurse. Yeah, you weren't there for that conversation.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a master's in science, medical cannabis science and therapeutics at a University of Maryland. Awesome.
I need to learn something from you.
Yeah, definitely. We can learn
As
something.
a nurse for cannabis, since 19 is when I started, joined the American Cannabis Nurses Association, and began doing some their speaks and learning. Because it's a,
I need some gold.
when you look at medicines, I mean, they're handled differently. You know, physicians know exactly what's in the medicines. You know, patients are given take one pill every 4 hours. The medical community is not ready for, okay, you're going to manage this yourself, we're going to help.
Yeah.
Interesting enough, if you've ever followed medicine, so you have a diabetic nurse educator, you have other nurses that they work with the doctor, so the doctor says, so you're a diabetic. Well, they don't have time to sit down and teach you all you have on diabetes. They'll give you the basics. They'll send you to a nurse. The nurse will sit down and say, okay, you have diabetes. This is how you draw up your insulin, how you check your blood sugar. This is your diet. So it's nurses that run that.
Mhm.
I see that as being the same for medical, not adult use, of course, but for medical patients that are wanting to start cannabis, but maybe they're on 3 medicines and they don't know how they're going to interact.
Yeah.
So nurses would be, in that role, say, okay, well, maybe you need to space your meds out a little bit.
That's right.
Take your X number pill at 5, and you'll take your cannabis at 7.
That's right.
Or do a sativa or an indica, etc.
Yeah, I was talking more about the drug-drug
Yeah.
interactions. Because there are a number of drugs that interact with cannabis.
Yeah.
You can interact with everything. So, because
Thank you so much for coming to the 3rd annual
Oh, here we
South
go.
Carolina Cannabis Supporters
Sorry, guys.
Rally today. My name is Bob Chapman, and I'm the founder and executive director of the South Carolina Cannabis Coalition. We're a grassroots, non-profit organization trying our best to bring cannabis law reform advocates together to help bring the Palmetto State into the 21st century. There's no doubt South Carolina cannabis laws are woefully outdated. To start off, I'd like to share some of my knowledge about the history of cannabis law reform here in South Carolina. The first chapter of NORML, the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, in South Carolina was formed, believe it or not, at the Citadel, the military college of South Carolina in Charleston. A very brave Citadel cadet there in the 1970s told school officials of his plans to start a NORML chapter there. It was told no, not just no, but hell no. After explaining to the Citadel brass that NORML does not promote breaking the law, instead NORML only promotes changing cannabis laws to prevent arrest for the possession of small amounts of marijuana. His explanations did not work, and his request was denied. But did the cadet give up? No. He took the Citadel to court and won. That was the very first cannabis law reform victory in South Carolina, and an important early victory for NORML, which was founded in Washington, D.C. in 1970. Oh, we got some honkers there. When word of this South Carolina quit victory spread to other South Carolina colleges, students at the University of South Carolina, myself included, wanted to start a NORML college chapter 2. The USC administration was indeed hesitant to make a NORML chapter at USC with the same rights and privileges as other student organizations. And our request was delayed, but because of a landmark victory at the Citadel, that cleared the way. So, anyway, I'd like to go on and say here about the the Senate one time, but it looks like it's going to be a challenge. So we all have to work together on that. And it's important to know that first of all, let me go back a bit here. Students at USC Normal testified before the General Assembly for a bill that passed in 1980, which very few people know about. It was signed into law by Democratic Governor Richard W. Riley on February 28, 1980, almost 45 years ago. But the big problem with the 1980 bill, it relied on supply coming from the federal government. And shortly after this bill went into effect, they were trying to shut that program down. In hindsight, maybe those USC students should have tried to pass decriminalization instead of trying to pass a medical bill, which we did, but it never helped any patients. South Carolina is still one of only 9 states that have not decriminalized cannabis or legalized it for medical purposes. If we all work together, we can bring change. It's now legal for adults 21 plus in Cherokee, North Carolina, on the Eastern Cherokee Reservation to buy cannabis. The Catawba tribe in South Carolina near Charlotte could also decide to do the same thing. That should not be the only way that legal cannabis comes to South Carolina. We're now wasting over $100 million annually, according to the ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union, to enforce outdated South Carolina laws originally based on Jim Crow racism. Instead, South Carolina could be saving that money and earning windfall legal cannabis excise taxes at over $100 million a year. So do the math. That's over $1 billion saved and earned in only 5 years that could finally fix South Carolina's worse than the USA public schools and roads.
That's right.
Today, 24 states are legal, and they have collected over $20 billion in legal cannabis taxes. And that total does not include state revenue from medical cannabis, and taxes gained by the thousands of new high-paying jobs created after any state prohibition. Cannabis is a primary ingredient used in numerous medicines. Unlike some states, South Carolina law does not mention Delta 8 THC or Delta 10 THC. There has been raids on local vape stores and smoke shops that sell these products. While other legal and medical states allow patients to freely share their cannabis, the latest South Carolina medical bill still has excessively harsh penalties. In addition to violators losing their right to be an approved South Carolina medical patient for life, the latest bill from Tom Davis also has an excessive 5-year felony and/or $5,000 fine for conversion, marriage, and or not. Why put any non-violent and otherwise law-abiding South Carolina residents in jail for something now legal to a majority of Americans? The cost to house a South Carolina prisoner has now risen to over $40,000 annually. I'd like to close with 10 reasons to legalize from the marijuana policy front. Number 1, a country that values liberty should not be punishing adults for using cannabis.
That's right.
Number 2, prohibition wastes public resources, while legalizing and taxing cannabis brings in much needed revenue. 3, arresting cannabis offenders prevents police from focusing on real crime, crime with guns, people being shot, and danger. Prohibition sends an incredible number of Americans through the criminal justice system, ruining countless lives. Number 5, cannabis laws are disproportionately enforced. 6, replacing prohibition with regulation creates barriers to teens accessing cannabis. In legal states, teen use goes down, not up, as we have been told by some government officials. Number 7, cannabis breeds violence. We don't need that. Number 8, only regulation allows for control. If you want to control cannabis, right now the drug dealers and gangs are in control. Number 9, prohibition is bad for the environment. And last, cannabis is safer than alcohol. There's been
That's right.
study done, and it's determined that cannabis, or actually the reverse, alcohol is 120
Cannabis is
times
safer than alcohol.
more dangerous than cannabis. Thank you very much.
That's right. Yeah.
Coming up is Mike Harvey. He is South Carolina's top registered cannabis nurse. Get this up, sorry. Can you hear me okay? A little closer. A little closer. Good afternoon, cannabis supporters. My name is Mike Harvey. I'm a retired Army Air Corps officer, a cannabis educator, and I just started my Master's of Science in Palliative Care. I'm hoping to take cannabis in palliative care. And according to our elected officials, both state and federal, include law enforcement, because I use cannabis as medicine, I'm a criminal. How many criminals out there we got? I wouldn't have met. All right. Okay, next one is a paper. All right, South Carolina supporters are here to support cannabis as a source of pulp for paper, material for clothing, building materials such as hemp flooring and hemp trees. This plant has so much
No, we're
knowledge.
criminals.
But it's the use of cannabis to help our body maintain homeostasis, which is why we use cannabis. In simple terms, or to state it more simply for our politicians and our opponents, it's our medicine. Today we stand before you, for our state leaders fighting for our right to use plant-based medicine versus being forced to take pharmaceuticals to manage our health conditions. Our citizens have been reaching out to our elected officials, asking for their support to ensure a safe medical cannabis option to be available. But our access to this plant remains untouchable. We're citizens fearing the loss of their freedoms. While this is only our third event, you've got to understand that we've been fighting cannabis prohibition for 87 years. We look at the reefer madness of 1937, and then 1970, the Controlled Substance Act. Both of these have been locking patients up in prison for using this medicine. As we look back at the origins of war on cannabis, we can see how racism has affected large numbers of our citizens. Today, black and brown skinned citizens who use cannabis are being incarcerated less than 3.5 times more likely as compared to the white cannabis users. Blacks and whites use cannabis at the same amount, it's not different. That's supportaclu.org. And for what? Control over its citizens by our politicians and law enforcement. Today, 39 states have
Just made them take down the honk for cannabis signs.
Or the people's vote. 44 states and the District of Columbia have adult use cannabis laws. And as Bob pointed out, we can just drive a couple hours to find at the Cherokee Indian Reservation. Think of how much risk that's put cannabis patients in. You have to travel for your medication. You have to worry about going to prison. The only thing that our government's war on cannabis has successfully achieved is the creation of more criminals to support the state financially. By increased incarceration for cannabis, more broken families, and citizens being forced to take pharmaceuticals they feel are not beneficial with increased side effects. Law enforcement is telling our legislators that enacting a law allowing cannabis use in our state would in effect defund our police. I'm assuming that this would be by their inability to just pull somebody over and say, I smell marijuana, I'm searching your car.
That's facts.
Civil asset forfeiture would end. You don't know what civil asset forfeiture is. You get pulled over with a couple of joints and you happen to have $5,000 on you, just cash your check. You could lose that money based on cannabis. You're not going to get arrested, you just lose money. Again, I'm a veteran. We have given, according to the veterans who have given so much for our nation, let's be cognizant that the Veterans Administration healthcare is nothing but a set of revolving doors with a pill for every complaint, which has only harmed our veterans. We have seen the negative effects of widespread opiate use, benzodiazepines, and other harmful pharmaceuticals with an extensive array of harmful side effects. There should be no confusion as to why we lose 22 veterans every day by taking their own lives. There is a lack of quality mental health care and a VA pill mill. We saw opiates take 81,083 lives in the United States in 2023. For instance, did you know that the FDA-approved drug Tylenol is responsible for 56,000 ER visits, 2,600 hospitalizations, and 500 deaths per year in the United States? Did we give 2 thumbs up for Tylenol? Hey!
Nope.
That's sarcasm. Alcohol, according to the National Council of Alcoholism and Drug Dependence, is the most widely abused drug, with 88,000 annually attributed with excessive use. Cannabis has yet to end the life of any individual using plant medicine by overdose.
That's right.
I've scoured the Center for Disease Control's website for the references to drug overdoses related to cannabis. Sorry to say, I can't find one. We have seen decades of research completed to identify the harms of cannabis. Most, if not all, research was conducted on the harms of cannabis by the National Institute of Drug Abuse, a federal agency that has only one directive, and that's to determine the substance abuse potential of a drug. The conclusion by the best and brightest researchers, those researchers at the National Institute of Drug Abuse, boils down to this: cannabis is not a gateway drug. Cannabis addiction potential is 9% when you start as an adult and 17 as a child. It is by far higher for alcohol than any other drug out there. Overdose deaths related to plant-based cannabis, again, is 0. Just want to rehash that. It is only when cannabis
And
research
folks,
is allowed to be conducted
The state troopers
without the
told them to
excessive
remove the
barriers
honk for legal cannabis on the road, and we're still getting honks.
that we will fully understand how this plant will benefit society in so many ways. I ask you all of you who support cannabis by our citizens, who want the products made from hemp, to call your South Carolina representative and senator and tell them your personal story. They like to hear from you. Also, and this is more for me, if you talk to your legislator and they have served in the military in the past, ask them, would you support access to cannabis by a veteran if that is the only drug that is managing their pain or their depression? You may be surprised to find that most of our legislators that have served in the military have forgotten their buddies. They don't want cannabis. They don't seem to care. And that's a tragedy. Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Have a good day.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, they got a friend.
Yeah, so they have a friend who lives right here.
Oh.
I assume he lives in Columbia.
Oh, wow.
Hey, just another supporter.
All right. Yeah, he's was normal.
Good morning. My name is Wayne Waters. I am past president of Columbia Normal and former Democratic candidate for House District 89 this 2024. I'm out here today because I've been supporting this issue. I've been working on this issue since the Haley administration. It was through the efforts of Columbia Normal that we engaged the public, we helped change the minds of some legislators, and we got industrial hemp legalized in this state. We got CBD legalized in this state. We can get marijuana legalized in this state. The opinion that we're going to be the last state to do this is not realistic. As we can see, Georgia has moved forward, North Carolina has moved forward, Florida has moved forward. Everyone around us and more than half this country has moved far beyond us. Nobody's going to wait for South Carolina to be the last state to legalize. We have to do it ourselves.
That's right.
That's right.
What it's going to take is people voting for candidates who actually stand for something, not who simply push a national policy agenda that comes from organizations out of state that aren't interested in doing what is right and best for our people. So I'm out here today to support this cause like I've been doing for more than a decade. I thank the public who's shown up. I want to continue encouraging people to call, to write, to show up to the State House, to meet their legislator, talk with those people, engage in your community. We can get this changed. I fully support, and I want everybody to fully support Dion Tedder's legislation that would take the excuse, quite frankly, of smelling marijuana to be able to search someone's car. I would like for people to continue calling and showing up to their representatives' offices to support the legalization of marijuana for veteran use, but also for general public use. The money that we could raise would do a lot of good for this state, especially to go to public education.
That's right.
Especially since we seem to have a state treasurer who doesn't know how to do accounting and loses money that we then have to pay $3 million to find out we didn't lose at all.
Mm-hmm. Facts.
So again,
Facts.
thank you for coming. Continue calling your representatives, supporting the issue locally. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Wade Thomas. I'm a 25-year-old medical cannabis advocate, owner of neighborhood clinic in Northburg, South Carolina. I've been advocating for medical cannabis in the State House for about 3 years now. The reason I do this is I was severely affected by degenerative disc disease, permanent sciatica. The amount of prescribed narcotics that I was taking, I realized that it was not a cure for what my condition was. So I tried a bunch of different non-traditional methods of treatment for my ailments.
See him? Do you see him? Just snapped a picture of us, and I've been following him since I saw him snap the picture. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
You got a good look.
The Passion Care Act has been revised and restricted so many times that SLED and other opposing legislators and their parties. Unfortunately, the fact that we still have no medical cannabis program shows me that some of our elected representatives just don't have care for their constituents' alternative health care concerns or maintaining a decent quality of life. There is more than just a bill. It's the constituents of South Carolina once again begging for access to medicine so that we don't have to live like criminals just to feel better. This year, we need the most support, and we need to rally together
to show to our legislators that it's past time that they listen to what their constituents truly have to say. All you have to do is call or write your local House reps. You can even come up to the State House for free and talk to them. It's your right as a South Carolina citizen. The best way to get these elected officials to truly listen is by the people of South Carolina uniting and coming together with heavy emphasis on the residents reaching out multiple different times to state these concerns. In my years of talking to legislators, I've found that the number one thing I'm told is that they don't hear anything from their constituents about medical cannabis. They have no knowledge. So that puts it onto their constituents, the residents of South Carolina. I've noticed that there's an overwhelming support for medical cannabis in this state, and the fact that our legislators don't listen and vote the opposite way, in my opinion, is outrageous. I truly believe that what they're doing is a mockery of the democratic system because they truly go against what the people want and need. It's past time to give the power back to the people and let their voices be heard and known that medical cannabis is medical freedom. Thank you.
All right.
Once we get ready to sign off.
Can y'all hear me?
Oh yeah.
Is that better?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Good afternoon, South Carolina.
What's up?
Hey!
It is my honor to have been invited by the USC alumnus, Dr. Sonia Williams, and DJ Gamecock Bob Chapman of the South Carolina Cannabis Coalition to be here on the steps of the Capitol building in Columbia, South Carolina, sharing this moment with you as we come together in united purpose for the third time to reiterate the importance of decriminalizing cannabis in this great state of South Carolina.
That's right.
A little about me. My father's job moved us to Lexington, South Carolina in 1988, so I've been around. The Friday before school started my freshman year of high school. Well, I showed up to Lexington High School, and I was Lexington High School's first female Mr. Wildcat. I attended both campuses of Midlands Tech. I've sucked oyster shells clean, straight from Bowen's Island marshes. I've chaperoned y'all's little spring break trips to Myrtle Beach. I've learned how to water ski on Lake Hartwell in Walhalla. I've rubbed the rock and run the length of Death Valley in Clemson, and I've tailgated more Gamecock games than I can count. I've lived in a little pink mill house in West Columbia, right over there across the river. I had the privilege of witnessing my neighbor across the street transition into her full self. I began my arts career right over there on State Street. I've camped under the scrub oaks and pine trees at Sesame Centennial State Park, and I have dressed up for the cup. In 1995, I was married here. I birthed my son here. I was abused by my husband here. In 1997, I was arrested for conspiracy to distribute marijuana here. I was charged as a felon here. I did my time, completed drug court, and got clean here. I moved away from here. Today I am back 2 decades later to publicly speak on behalf of those who are still in prison in South Carolina on nonviolent criminal-related cannabis charges, while the rest of the nation is moving forward, decriminalizing, liberating their people, and leaning into the future. It is time. The time is now to join our fellow states that have already found a way to free their people. Take counsel and begin reaping the millions of dollars that medical, agricultural, and creative economy provides. Decriminalizing cannabis is now to be seen as an opportunity. Cannabis is no longer a marker of devaluation in our society, but rather the rising of industry, agriculture, education, and health services across the board. It is time to stop decriminalizing people and start healing your people. I stand here today, not just for myself, but for the veterans that I know who are still battling Agent Orange, for the traumatized, the cancer patients, the stay-at-home moms, for the ones who can't be here today because of one reason or another. I understand the stigma that using cannabis used to carry, but for me and a lot of other people, it's how we can find relief when Big Pharma can't help out.
That's right.
The infrastructure for decriminalization is already building itself. Fox Farm from Humboldt County in Northern California is setting up shop right here in South Carolina, bringing the finest, richest soil from the Emerald Triangle to help lay the foundation of this now future that is already here before us.
You heard that.
These kind of visionary businesses and leaders are already here and know the benefits decriminalization brings. Jobs related to the cannabis industry are already available in South Carolina. I'm going to ask one more time, South Carolina, it is time to open the doors of prosperity and wellness to your people. Vote to decriminalize. This has been a John Williams joint.
All right. Oh, legalize it.
Drop the mic.
All right, I want to let everybody know that at 4:20, we're going to have a march around the inner sidewalk of the Capitol to protest the raids that have been done in South Carolina on vape stores and smoke shops. A local worker was facing 20 years in prison just for being a manager in a dispensary store, and that's just unacceptable.
Yeah.
We're also, when the event's over at 5 o'clock, we're going to be holding up signs to traffic out front here. If you've never done any picketing before, well, now is your chance.
That's right.
All right, thanks again for coming, and we appreciate you very much. Please contact your legislators and let them know that we need change now. Thank you again.
That's right. That's right.
Now back to the 420 music.
All right. A lot of good info there.
A lot of good info. All right, guys, so we're going to sign off for now. We're going to continue to film on body cameras and our other static cameras. We won't be live streaming unless there's an event that happens, but we're here, we're doing it. The weather held out for us. We're loving it. Thank you, South Carolina. Thank you for all those who are watching right now and supporting. We love all of you. So yeah, we're getting ready to go grab our signs and start holding them at the roads. Love y'all. Peace out. J-Dub Audits. Accurate Bloom. J Smells Bacon. FRF Activist. JD. And the lady. Signing off from South Carolina. Peace out, y'all.
Do,